Hello guys, welcome to part 2 of this match analysis. So, in the last video we started analyzing the tactics Tsitsipas used to beat Federer during the Australian Open. In particular, we talked about the tactics he used during short rallies. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest you watch it first and then go back to this video. I'll leave a link on the video description below. So, in this video we will talk about what Tsitsipas did during medium and long rallies. Even though most of the points in this match were short rallies, in my opinion, the outcome during medium and long rallies was the factor that made the difference during this match. To start this topic, I want you to take a look at this table. We already talked about this table during the last video. We talked about good results, neutral results, and bad results. In short words, good results are points that start on your terms, which usually means you attacking your opponent. Neutral results are points that start with neither you nor your opponent dominating the point. And bad results are points that start with your opponent playing on his or her terms. When a professional player is facing Federer, one of his main goals is to avoid having too many bad results. Federer has one of the most effective attacking styles, and playing defense against him is usually a bad idea. When players use their first serve against Federer, bad results can be avoided more often. However, when they start missing that first serve and have to start using that second serve more frequently, things start getting out of control because Federer likes to step inside the baseline and attack his opponent's second serve. This is where Tsitsipas did a great job. When we take a look at his second serve distribution, we see that his main serve was the body serve on both sides. As you can see, with this serve, Tsitsipas' good results are quite significant, but more important than that is the low percentage of bad results. By using this serve quite often, Tsitsipas denied Federer the opportunity to attack his second serves. In the last video, when we talked about Tsitsipas' first serve and Federer's return, we could see a relationship between Federer's placement of his return and whether Tsitsipas could take advantage of that return. For example, when Tsitsipas hit a T serve, most of Federer's return will land at the middle of the court, allowing Tsitsipas to run around his backhand and use his forehand. However, when we take a look at Federer's return after Tsitsipas hit a body serve as a second serve, we cannot see a relationship between placement and results. That's because, in my opinion, Tsitsipas didn't use the body serve to condition Federer's placement on the return. Its purpose was to condition the speed of the return. Here's my theory. When you hit the ball, the more extended your arms are, the more power you put on the stroke. When players decide to attack a second serve, they usually do it in one of the following ways. The first one is running around the backhand and trying to find the forehand. The better you do this, the more space you will have between yourself and the ball, and the more power you will be able to generate. The second way is by getting inside the baseline, just as Federer did, and try to take the ball early. The upside of this tactic is that you can take time away from your opponent and you shrink the court size as well, especially if your opponent tries either the Y serve or the T serve. However, if your opponent uses the body serve and you move forwards, you could find the ball right in front of you. There is practically no space between the ball and yourself, and because of it, you can't hit the ball as hard as you want. That's what I believe happened during this match. Federer found himself many times with the ball right in front of him and couldn't attack the second serve as much as he wanted. Okay, during the first video we talked about how Tsitsipas had a lot of good results, and today we have discussed how he kept the bad results pretty low. Now it's time to talk about neutral results. These are the points where the serve or the return of serve didn't give any advantage to the players. In other words, both players started the point in similar conditions. To understand this set of tactics, we will take a different approach. We will start by taking a look at the tactics Federer used during the first set. This might not make sense since we are talking about Tsitsipas, but I need you to trust me for the next couple of minutes. During the first set, Federer won a total of 9 rally points. From those 9 points, we can see 2 patterns. The first one is very clear. Federer won 3 points after Tsitsipas made an unforced error with his backhand. The second one is a little bit more complicated, but still very important. Federer got the upper hand in 3 points by forcing Tsitsipas to leave the ball in position E. Once Tsitsipas left the ball there, Federer could run around his backhand and find his forehand to dominate the point. For this second pattern, what's important is not the fact of taking advantage of the balls that landed in position E. What's important is figuring out how to force Tsitsipas to place the ball at E. From the 3 points Federer used this tactic, Tsitsipas left 2 times the ball on E after having to run a bigger distance to his forehand and once after having to run a bigger distance to his backhand. As for Tsitsipas, during the first set, he won a total of 14 rally points, and just like Federer, 2 patterns were very clear. The first one is that Tsitsipas won 3 points after Federer made an unforced error with his forehand. The second pattern is that he forced an error from Federer 3 times once he made Federer run a large distance to his forehand side. Once again, what's important about this second pattern is figuring out how to force Federer to run that much distance to his forehand. In this case, it was pretty simple. He did it by first aiming Federer's backhand. Summing up, these were the tactics that brought success to them during the first set. Now, I want you to place yourself in Tsitsipas' shoes. You are heading into the second set. What would you do? Well, only based on this information, I will try to continue using the second pattern, aiming Federer's backhand until I see a ball that allows me to go to his forehand. Now, if I flip the coin and place myself in Federer's shoes, I will try to force Tsitsipas to leave the ball at position E. This will probably mean I will have to find a way to force Tsitsipas to run a large distance to his forehand side, and that will probably require aiming Tsitsipas' backhand first. This is the moment when I want you to take a pause to see what's going on. We saw what both players did during the first set and predicted what their strategies will be for the second set. Now let's put both tactics one next to each other. Based on our theories, Tsitsipas' tactic will start by targeting Federer's backhand, and Federer's tactic will start by targeting Tsitsipas' backhand. This means that for now on, we could expect to see a lot of cross-court backhand exchanges. Understanding this is very important because it allows us to see that from now on, both players' tactics can't be successful at the same time. Both tactics start the same way, and the player that successfully executes his tactic will deny his opponent from starting his tactic. This is the moment Tsitsipas started dominating most of the rallies. During this match, Tsitsipas' backhand had more depth than Federer's backhand, and that allowed him to take advantage of the majority of the cross-court backhand exchanges. When you take a look at how Federer won rallies during the second set, you can no longer see a pattern. We have a couple of unforced errors by Tsitsipas, some passing shots by Federer, one drop shot from Tsitsipas that didn't work, and only 2 winners from position E. In contrast, when we take a look at Tsitsipas, we get a clear picture of how he won points. During this set, Tsitsipas won 12 points. 3 were unforced errors with Federer's forehand. 2 were unforced errors with Federer's backhand. 1 was a passing shot, and 6 points during the cross-court backhand exchanges. There were some variants about how these exchanges ended, but they all were triggered because Tsitsipas had the advantage during these rallies. In some of them, Federer left a short ball that allowed Tsitsipas to attack the forehand with his next shot. Another variant were the rallies where Federer tried to escape this type of exchanges by running around the backhand and hit an inside-in forehand or just hit a backhand down the line. The problem is that in those occasions, Federer was somewhere near position G or H and not position E. He wasn't at the middle of the court and didn't have the same angle that allowed him to make Tsitsipas run a larger distance. That allowed Tsitsipas to get in there well positioned and hit a cross-court forehand that made Federer run a huge distance to his forehand side, and in consequence, take control of the point. This kept happening during the third and fourth set. Sometimes there were more unforced errors with the backhand. Sometimes there were more unforced errors with the forehand. Sometimes Tsitsipas didn't have to aim Federer's forehand after the cross-court backhand because he forced an error from Federer's backhand. There were some variants of this tactic, but the principle of engaging in cross-court backhand exchanges was what got Tsitsipas a lot of success. Combining this tactic with everything we talked before about Tsitsipas' first serve and second serve allows us to understand how he was able to win against an all-time great like Federer. Tsitsipas has a lot of weapons, but more important than that, he knows how to use them, and that's the reason he was victorious that day. Having said all this, we have concluded this analysis. Now it's time for you to let me know what you think of this match. Do you agree with this analysis? Do you think this analysis is wrong? Please let me know in the comments section. I also wanted to let you know that I created a Facebook group for those of you that want to talk about strategies, game plans, or anything related. If you want to join the group, I will leave a link on the video description below. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. My name is Jorge, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.